many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah. Father, Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Oh, what's going on? Right on. Right on. Right on. Everybody thinks we're wrong. Oh, but who are they to judge us? Simply cause our hair is long. Oh, you know we've got to find a way. Bring some understanding here today. Oh, oh, oh. Picket line and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Come on, talk to me. You can see what's going on. Yeah, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. Ooh. Right on. Right on. Right on. Right on.
Busy schedules to tap in with me for a little bit. How y'all doing this afternoon? Myself, been a rather eventful day, but all praise be to the Creator. You know, everything's working itself out. Uh, I'm just gonna dive right into it. You know what I mean? Uh, in light of the events that have been going on, has made worldwide news here in Texas. Uh, with the case involving Karmelo Anthony and the kid Austin Metcalf in Frisco, Texas. You know, you see a lot of things, and I've been, I'm researching and researching, and one thing leads to another. So last night, based off of me looking at different things, people started posting. Uh, one second, please. yeah, people start posting things, so it leads me to looking at other things. So last night, from this Carmelo case, it led me to the case of David Pleasant in Little Elm, and from that, it led me to where I am tonight. This case with Keith Slaughter, and I'm supposed to have. I actually saw a post from the lady that's supposed to be the special guest, Miss Tierra M. Tucker, because I saw a post that she had made speaking on the Karmelo Anthony situation. So I reached out to her, and she has prior engagement. So she says she may be able to make it here at 7. Right now, we're having a hard time getting her up on the link. I emailed it to her, but she didn't get it. So hopefully, if she's listening, she can just hit the link at the top of the comments of the chat right here, and I'll just bring you up, Miss Tucker, if you're listening. Uh, yeah, like I was saying, one thing led to another. So I started looking into this Keith Slaughter. Slaughter. I mean, I can't call it anything but a murder. You know what I mean? And Keith was a young man out of a 17-year-old high school basketball player in Frisco, Texas. You know what I mean? At one of the high schools, I believe, Lebanon Trails High School in Frisco, Texas. As we know, Carmelo, he actually went to high school, I believe, Frisco Centennial, if I'm correct, in right here in Frisco, Texas. Um, I believe the kid that I covered last night, David Pleasant, he was from Frisco and he was murdered in Little Elm. So all of this is happening right around this area. You know what I mean? Um, so as I went into looking into the Keith Slaughter situation, man, and this kid, from my understanding, he I mean, he was a good kid, man. Like excellent ball player, great family, everything. And he went to a house party out in Little Elm. I'm trying to send her the link to get on here. He went to a house party out in Little Elm, and at this party, uh, someone started shooting, and I believe it was maybe 3 individuals that, well, I think it was 4 or 5 individuals had got hit, with some shots. It was 4 teens actually. One girl, she suffered like long term disabilities from it. A couple of them, they got minor injuries, but uh, Keith was the one that ended up passing away. One second, I'm trying to communicate with her. Let me bring my partner, my brother, my friend Roy 9G up. I need you to hold this down for me, bro, so I can try to get Miss Tucker up here. We have difficulty right now.
Hey, yeah, we start posting stuff about things happening around Frisco. I started looking into it as well, and it just shows you, man, this this violent culture is just pervasive. It's everywhere because these aren't locations that are traditionally known as places you need to worry about your kids going out to parties and what have you. But I'm really interested to hear what your perspective is still on this recent happening. Has it changed at all? Because a lot of my frustration isn't with so much. I mean, like I said, it's a tragedy. 2 kids passed, but you lean people certain ways based on how things are covered in the media. So, because immediately at first, even with the clips I had seen, it was almost painted as if this stabbing just happened in the abstract. But later on, as information has come out, There's been more information to say, yeah, it was a confrontation. Of course, this kid took it way too far. Well, in my belief, right? He took it beyond what the confrontation was really about, or what had really escalated to. But now things are starting to make more sense. But that's why it's innocent to.
You went out, bro. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, it's really interesting all the stuff going around Frisco. Frisco is supposed to be a safe haven, right? But unfortunately, it looks like nowhere is like really safe in today's society, and it's gonna get crazier with this market crashing. It's gonna be more layoffs, more unemployed people, meaning harder times for harder people, harder times for kids, and the summertime is coming up. It's almost like a recipe for ugliness.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I'm still trying to communicate with Miss Tucker to get her up here. She says she's watching it live, but she can't access the chat. So I don't know what the problem is as far as accessing her chat so she can hit the link to come up. Because I tried to email her the link, and she said she didn't get it. Uh, anyway, maybe we'll just have to reschedule with her. But let me try. Hold on. Hold me down, bro. Let me try this one.
Yeah, I thought I saw another story where I think, did you send it to me where the kid went to the police station and didn't make it out? It's just it be so much that goes on that if it isn't deemed salacious enough, it doesn't even really take it to the mainstream media. This young black man in Frisco and the white kid that's a twin, it's salacious because of the color aspect, because it's a white guy and a black male. So it's commendable that his father's trying to keep down the tension because of the parties involved, because that means he's acutely aware of what really goes on in America as far as the race baiting that's done between groups of people, right?
All right, I emailed her again. Hopefully she can get it. If not, like I said, man, maybe we can reschedule because I'm pretty sure I'll be revisiting this whole tragedy again. Salute, Stephanie Marie. Appreciate you for being here. East Atlantic. Salute. God's grace. Thank you as always for supporting. Uh, yeah, yeah, man. This case here it's kind of crazy because when I was looking at it, whatever, it's another 17-year-old kid. Then the David Pleasant, he was a 19-year-old kid. Then we know that the situation with uh, Karmelo Anthony and even Metcalf, they 17-year-old kids. You know what I'm saying? So, and all of this is within of what 5 years span, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Because the situation here with Keith Slaughter happened, I believe, around October the 21st or something, 2023. And there's some other things, man, which we're gonna get into that, a little bit later. But back to how it took place. He was at a house party in Little Elm. I imagine he's from Frisco. He goes to Frisco High, and and they say that like three boys they were caught on camera. The suspects or whatever, and the police are saying that they went through a neighbor's backyard. fire shots through the fence right into the party. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know if, because they were checking for weapons at the door, so they don't know if these were some kids that may have been turned away or something. And they went around and did what they did or whatever. But there's really no motive. So as a result, this kid Keith Slaughter, lost his life. In actuality, I'm going to show. See if I can find it. I'm going to let them explain. This was right afterwards.
As they try to find out who killed the student in Frisco ISD.
The 17-year-old was shot Saturday night in Little Elm, and police just released new surveillance images of 5 people they want to speak with. You can see those they're looking for at the top of your screen there. Investigators say the shooting happened at a party on Sunlight Drive, and tonight the teenager's family told Sydney Persing they can't believe what happened.
Watch carefully. Investigators say the 3 people you see here run from police sirens, and the 2 you see here run towards a car could have information about who killed 17-year-old Keith Slaughter.
I don't really know how to live life without him.
Keith's mother, Natasha, got the call Saturday. Her son was at a party on Sunlight Drive when someone started shooting. Keith's stepdad, Marcos Branch, told me he just took him to UNT for his first college tour.
I hope that they understand what they've done. I mean, you've taken away a phenomenal kid who was going to be a phenomenal man.
Keith just got his license, had his braces taken off. He loved basketball, video games, and his older brother, Kamarian.
He was always there for me, Every time I go through something dark, he'd be there and try to guide me back to where I was supposed to be. All throughout college, I've been just trying to be that role model for him. All the time, he was the role model for me.
This family's pain is obviously fresh. They want you to know Keith was a good kid, an innocent.
People always assume, because he's a young black boy, that because he was gunned down, he's responsible somehow, whether he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, whether he was with the wrong people. And that just wasn't the case. He was at a party like a lot of kids go to. And he was just an innocent bystander.
I haven't really been able to process the fact that someone took him from me.
Call Little Elm Police if you know who these people are or who killed Keith.
Even if they're caught, which I believe they will be, and even if they're punished, which I believe they will be, Keith is gone. You can't replace a Keith. He's one of one.
And his family will never be whole without him. In Little Elm, I'm Sydney Persing.
And at this time, I'd like to welcome Miss, hopefully I pronounced it right, Tierra Tucker. Okay, thank you for taking time out to come join us on this and talk about this. If you will, you can introduce yourself as far as professionally and in relation to the family of Keith.
Absolutely. So I'm assuming everybody can hear me okay. First of all, thank you for the invitation to join the show. It's a lot going on, as I like to say, in America right now, right? And even when we think that we've had enough, there's always something else and something else. So I don't take any invitation lightly to speak and to share stories. So my name is Tierra Tucker. I'm the owner of a social impact focused PR firm called Tierra PR Network based in Texas. And one of the many cases that I've had the unfortunate pleasure, I like to say, of working on is the one involving Keith Slaughter, which is what you just showed. So a couple of years ago, actually October of 2023, so almost 2 years ago, I received a call from a dear friend of mine who is actually a friend of Keith's mother. And because of my work in the PR space and brutality space, he's like, Tierra, something just happened. We don't know really what's going on. We think that Keith might have been involved in a murder, but we're not sure. So at the time, nobody really knew who was the victim, I would like to say. So fast forward, we did a little research. We really didn't know who the victim was at the time, but then we did find out and receive confirmation the next day after the shooting that Keith was the person who was shot. We're still to this day believing that it was just really a matter of him, you know, I would say being at the wrong place, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, meaning he was not a target from what we have learned. We just feel like it was just he was a part of a crossfire. So that just gives a little bit about, you know, what happened in October of 2023. And then fast forward, I would say, to this week, the world is discussing another murder that took place. And that just triggered something in me. Like a lot of people who are active in this kind of space, I got calls, I got texts, I got messages, and I instantly felt some type of way when I was seeing all of the commentary about Karmelo. And again, I'm gonna say this right now. I am not on here saying that I am advocating, supporting, endorsing. I'm not saying that. I'm looking at the facts and what I see. I saw a young 17-year-old who was being crucified throughout the United States of America for a situation that occurred that he was involved in, but without all of the details, without anything. The way that I was seeing people react to the situation is what bothered me. And so that's what led to me creating my post that has probably hit almost 50,000 views in less than 24 hours. But it came from a place of, y'all, we gotta look at this stuff. We gotta look at it differently. We gotta react differently. We can't be so quick to crucify our young men. We can't be so quick to dismiss our other young men. So that's kind of a big response to your one question.
Okay. I don't know. I kind of feel. I mean, you comfortable with just speaking with the avatar, or you want us to? I mean, the profile, or you want us to cam up as well? You comfortable with that?
Oh, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Whatever's comfortable for you all, or whatever's convenient.
So your issue is more or less with how, you know, whether we on the side of being accused of committing the crime or the crime is being committed against us, how we are portrayed in the media.
I think that my issue is just kind of stating a reality. What I like to do is I like to use my voice, and what I wanted to address in my post was this. A lot of people don't talk about both ends of a spectrum, right? So my perspective was just that, okay, we have another young Black teenager who was involved in a very tragic situation. Instantly, within hours, local, national media coverage and people on social media are just going in. Now, again, I'm not talking about the entire case. My heart goes out to Austin and his family. My heart goes out to everyone involved, but I'm just pinpointing a particular part of the overall story. We see this young man. In one moment, we see him in a nice suit. In some photos, we see him in his uniform, you know, his track uniform. And then we see him in mug shots all over. And then we're seeing all of these different headlines. We're hearing all of these stories. And now we're seeing different kinds of pictures of him. So now what we're seeing, which is very common in storytelling and media and social media, now we're seeing people paint pictures and creating levels of perception about the people involved. And now we're seeing people saying cruel things and horrible things and just all of these things about the future of this young man, and not even knowing the full story. Now, the full story does not take away from what happened, but it's just my issue is how quick people are to just destroy someone, destroy the character, and then on the flip side, they can uplift sometimes other people. Again, not even knowing full stories. So then on the flip side, what I see happen a lot is we'll take and I'll say our young black men will see the images of them plastered as criminals, or they're this, they're that, they're this. But wait a minute, but just a minute ago, they were a star athlete. They were a star student. They're still that. Because a situation happened, or because a bad choice was made, or whatever might happen in any situation, that does not take away from who they are or who they were. But people are so quick to judge, and I mean, this situation has crossed state lines. It has caused a lot of misinformation. It's caused a lot of uproar, a lot of division, a lot of controversy. So then, as I answer the other part of your question, how I brought in Keith. I brought in Keith Slaughter not to compare, not to say that one tragedy equates to another tragedy. That was not my point. My point is the portrayal. My point is what we sometimes see happen. Young man, Keith Slaughter, and you're right, perception appears to be the new reality. But you're right. We have one young man, 17 years old, Keith Slaughter, star athlete in Frisco, Texas. He was at a party in Little Elm with some friends. Shooting occurred. He was murdered. I literally was at the crime scene. I saw his blood in the grass. This young man was murdered. To this day, we don't know who murdered him. Even though we have video footage, as you saw in the video that you just played, we saw 3 young men walking, but nobody has come forward to say, this is who murdered him. We also know that after the situation happened, my PR firm, we were involved, and we put out a press release. Yes, there was some media involved in the beginning. Shout out to the local media, because they did come through. They did cover the story. They did. But guess what? After that, there was a memorial. Thank you to the people who came to the memorial. But was there a level of outrage that this young Black athlete was murdered? Does it matter who murdered him? Does it matter when it occurred? Should we still be very frustrated and heartbroken as a community that this young man was murdered? Fast forward again to this situation. We have a 17-year-old young Black star athlete student who was a part of a murder, and everybody in the country is talking about it. So that's just my concern.
I mean,
how we
he
can
did
portray
murder
two sides.
He did murder the other kid. That's
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's just a fact.
Nobody is
the question is the circumstances of the happening, right?
No, I think that my perspective, and I want to make sure that you all have the clarity. I'm a PR firm. I look at media. I look at news. I look at portrayal. I look at storytelling. So what I shared on my social media, which is what you all reached out to me for, was look at how different stories and how people can be portrayed in the media. Look at how we can focus on so much negativity of one person. We're not disagreeing about what happened. He even said that he did it. Nobody's debating that. My message was about, like, wow, look at the portrayal. Look at that. And then we can even flip it. And I'm not trying to make a racial statement. I'm just speaking on reality. We can flip it, and we could show the other way around, where we have a certain race that may commit a crime, and would it receive that same level of criticism, that same level of attack on the person?
And another adverse effect it could have on them is the ability to even get a fair trial with this public perception or whatever. You know what I mean? So I see exactly what you're saying. We had this debate the other night when we were talking about the Karmelo situation. So I ask you this: you said what it's been it hasn't even been 2 years since Keith, and basically it flamed out, as we would say. You know what I mean? Like no one has been talking about it. There's been no uproar about it. What you think could be done to keep this, on people's minds, and the Keith situation specifically?
Yeah, from what I saw, did they investigate anybody in particular, or they never find any suspects at all?
Yeah, no one came forward. There's the video, as you all showed, that shows 3 suspects walking in the neighborhood after it occurred. Nobody came forward. Nobody was called in. I mean, it's those individuals are still, I guess, on the loose.
Now look, that seems odd. With all these Ring cameras today, they didn't get a license plate or somebody. You know what I'm saying? That seems odd today, right?
I agree. I do feel like that's another piece of the puzzle where the sense of urgency, the sense of urgency. And am I saying that the police didn't do any investigation? I'm sure they did, right? I'm sure they did. But I do question the sense of urgency for certain situations. And it's not just here in North Texas. It's not just in Texas. I get calls so many times. I've got calls so many times over the years about young Blacks that were murdered, young Blacks that were involved in police brutality cases, and nobody talks about it. It might get a little buzz, but then it's like all the other tons of cases that eventually they just kind of are brushed under a rug, unless the people, the families, or the advocates or the activists choose to keep the story alive. So with Keith's situation, we did get some coverage back in October of 2023, and then there was a moment of silence. And then I will say that Fox News locally, they did another story on it. They brought it back to life. I thank them for that. NBC reached out. They said, hey, we want to bring the story back to life. And they did. And I thank them for that. They didn't have to do it, but they did it. So
yeah, I actually have that clip. I'm gonna play here in a little bit of the NBC. Again, I asked 2 things. Now you done brought up so many questions, but the question that I asked is what could be done, so it wasn't be such a large, wide span of time before it's brought up again, to keep it out there. You know what I mean? And as well as just you brought a question to my mind, man. Has there been any effort far as, like you said, you've heard of different cases over and over and it's brought to you, and they flame out. Has there been any efforts of bringing these people together, you know what I mean? So their children or whatever it was, they're not forgotten?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I can only speak on behalf right now of, for instance, Keith's mom, who's Natasha. So I think the other piece of the puzzle that people have to realize is, it's life-changing when your loved one is murdered, right? It's life-changing if your loved one was the murderer. And so some people, they may choose to respond or do things a little differently. I know for her family situation, there was a beautiful memorial for him here in Texas shortly after he passed away. And then they decided to have his funeral actually out of state. Other than that, there have been talks of creating like a nonprofit in his honor and just doing efforts like that. But as far as any other, I would say, activism or advocacy work or anything like that, there hasn't been anything that I'm aware of that has happened recently. So so how stories come back to life, they come back to life when, when the news might decide, hey, let's put it out there a little bit more, or they also stay alive when perhaps the family and the loved ones decide to continue to, as we see, share their name, share their story. So a lot of it is grassroots efforts where people are really, continuing to keep the name alive, even if it hits one person, 10 people, 100 or 1,000. It's just those efforts like that. I'm not aware of, where maybe she came together with other moms. I'm not aware of anything like that.
You said something about the the investigation as far as I guess Little M or whatever. And it's ironic because I was contacted by, I actually contacted this person. I don't know if it was a male or female, but they had a page. It was called Justice for Haley Shanae, I believe it was. And her niece, I believe it was, him or her niece, something that happened to the niece there in Little Elm. And from what this person is telling me is like the investigation was not thorough at all. They reached a conclusion, and that was that. And then they start forwarding me all type of stuff about the Little Elm Police Department, as if like they just go over things and just move on to the next thing or whatever. So, I mean, you think that's possible? They haven't done a thorough investigation, or they're not continuing to look for anyone, or they just say what the public want to hear in Keith's situation?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will say this, even with the NBC story, and I will say this, like, I have a lot of respect for a lot of journalists out here because, oh, Jackie, wow. Some journalists are amazing journalists. I'm just going to say that in the forefront, because sometimes we might say, oh, the media this, the media that. There are some media outlets or media journalists that may not always tell a full story. I'm just being real. But then there are some who are truly committed to true journalism. And I can say that when we got that call from the NBC reporter, her heart was pure. She said, hey, I realized that this story hadn't been talked about in a while, and I'm going to bring it back to life. So when I got the call, my question was, did something transpire? Like, is there some news that's about to come out? Because I was a little shocked, honestly, that the outlet was wanting to bring it back to life a little bit more. And she's like, no, it's just, we want to talk about it some more. And what she also told me is that they reached out to Little Elm Police. They wanted to hear from them, and they want to know, hey, what's been going on? What's the problem? What's the holdup? What have you found out? And so in that NBC clip that I believe you're going to play, it does show where they did reach out to Little Elm Police to hear from them and to get an update. And in that clip, for what it is or what it's worth, they did say that the investigation is still going on, and they did, provide the detectives information if anybody has any information, but they haven't provided anything that's substantial.
I know when we were communicating, you said you could stay for maybe 30 minutes or so. So I'm gonna run this clip, in a real fast.
Working on leads in a 2023 shooting that claimed the life of an innocent Frisco teenager. It happened during a large house party that left 3 other teenagers hurt. NBC5's Maria Guerrero has video that police say shows their suspects.
I miss him making me coffee every morning.
Natasha Slaughter misses everything about him.
I miss his attitude. I miss fussing at him being so excited about his games or like what he has going on at school, and coming into my room in the mornings, laying across my chest just to give me a hug as I play in his hair.
October 21st, 2023, a house party in Little Elm ends in chaos and bloodshed. 4 innocent people shot. Keith Slaughter, a bright and popular senior at Lebanon Trail High School in Frisco, fatally wounded. His murder unsolved.
Being that it is a year and a half, like, it almost makes me wonder if the case will go cold. And that makes me nervous, because at the end of the day, I want my son to have justice that he deserves.
We're not at a place of calling it cold, but we do need help from the community to identify these 3 folks.
Little Elm Police narrowing their search from 5 persons of interest to these 3 captured on surveillance video. Detectives say 1 or more in this trio opened fire, ambushing partygoers.
The shooters, we believe it's 3 people, came into the neighbor's backyard, fired shots through the fence into the party, where they killed Keith Slaughter. There was also a 15-year-old girl. She was shot, and she's now suffering long-term disabilities from the injury.
Police don't know the motive or whether the suspects had been turned away from the party, since people at the door were checking for weapons. Detectives hope someone recognizes one suspect by how he walked, with a limp.
This is a terrible thing that happened in our community, a terrible thing that happened to great people. We're looking for every bit of information that we can. No tip is too small.
Justice denied. Slaughter finds comfort in the son she had. In the mail 2 days after his funeral, an acceptance letter from Oklahoma State University.
I just think of now he's an honorary forever student at OSU, and maybe not with me, but you know, in the clouds, he's in college.
Damn.
And so that gives me a little bit of solace. Like I'm happy and I'm proud of him because I knew I raised a good son. I've always known that.
Anyone with information is urged to call the Little Elm Police Department. We're also going to put the detective's name, email, and phone number on our website, nbcdfw.com. Just click on this story. In Little Elm, Maria Guerrero, NBC5.
And that was like actually what, maybe a couple weeks before this Karmelo situation?
It was recent. It was about a week ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. You see all the footage they got on these boys, these Keystone, they can't get no suspects after. I mean, come on.
One even have a noticeable limp.
Noticeable limp. Who are they talking to?
Exactly. Again, and let's say we've seen situations where people are finding people in a day, you know, and snipers or people who are organized crime folks who are really trying to escape, right? When people are really needing to find people, I do believe that there's a way to find them.
Yeah, that one looks pretty bad. Hey, so look, let me ask you, I have a question before you go.
Yep, I got time.
Because I know it's been a lot of outcry and controversy about how the young man has been treated. And I'm kind of was on your side too, where I was like, well, I felt like he was getting painted guilty. I mean, look, we know he did the act, but there's some questions behind what happened. But then I was thinking, I was like, damn, like, is it hard for me? And what do you think? Do you think it's hard for us as Black people to like even look at criminal acts that happen with white people involved with us? We can't even. I don't even think we could look at it. It's hard for us to make a just measure because we've seen how we've been mistreated by the criminal justice system so many times and for so long, right? So I think it's almost a knee-jerk reaction for us to just overly support the Black kid or the Black man, even though, I mean, I don't know if this is the case, but like the OJ case, right? It's been different times in times where like we just get behind, you know, who we feel like represents us. And sometimes the circumstances may not always be the best circumstances for us to really get behind.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very fair point. And I will say this, when you really look at the reactions in the social media, there's all races that are either extremely critical about Karmelo, and there are some that are a little more compassionate. So I feel like, and this is just my opinion, my perspective, I feel like what is making this situation so popular, I'll say right now, is that there are so many different perspectives. There are so many different opinions. There are so many different people voicing their thoughts about the situation, right? There's also a lot of misinformation out there. There's also a lot of things that are questionable. There are some things that are being planted as lies. And then it makes it so hard to really know what the truth is. So I feel like there are people who are outright saying, away with him, right? And then there's also some people that are like, yes, he did it. Nobody can deny that part. Nobody, you know? But I think that there's some people with a level of compassion who are thinking, he did it, and we're not taking away from a lost life. We're not. But there are some people who are saying, well, what led to it? Or now what? Does this mistake or this situation make him a horrible person? Do you just become a horrible person because of one situation? Right? So I think that's what is happening right now. Whereas I feel like, yes, there are some people that are just rallying around off of GP like, nah, hold up. Watch what you say about our young brother. But then there's also some people that are like, nah, it is what it is. And then we also have some groups of people out there that are intentionally taking this situation to make it a racial situation, or to just, you know, destroy the individual. So I think we're seeing so many sides and so many angles. And because we know that the media will continue to show and air what gets a lot of attention. So obviously we have media that are going to do their due diligence, to do the research, to share this side, this perspective. And then we have some that will keep it going. And then eventually even this story is going to probably have a downward slope until we go back to an upward slope when we start hitting more news, more breaking news, and then the trial and things like that. So that's kind of the cycle of situations like this. When they do hit the media and the mainstream, it's a lot of buzz, you know, and then it'll stay up there. It'll have smaller outlets still talking about it, local, and then it'll slow down, then it'll pick back up. So that's what we're going to see.
As far as, go ahead, I'm listening.
No, go ahead.
One last question, I guess. As far as the race of the individuals that, you know, for one, I'm thinking, well, they don't really even know if these three individuals did the shooting, right? That they're looking for from the ring camera.
They're considering them suspects. So that you're right. They're saying they're the suspects.
Yeah. And they have no idea of their quote unquote race or ethnicity, like nothing facial. Would they have masks on, those guys walking down the street, the three guys?
Yeah, they just have what's in the video, apparently, allegedly.
That's weird. It seemed like they could zoom in or something. You know what I mean? Like with all this technology, like I just don't understand.
Man, it's a ring camera on every other door. It should be multiple videos in reality, right? Should be numerous videos with different angles, right?
Yeah. And also, that's also the cry. The cry to the community is, if you know these people, if they look familiar to you, if you heard anything, then share it. And I also can say that a while back, I worked a murder trial, and it was out of Shreveport. And I'm just giving this as an example. We were at court, and somebody testified, and they said that, you know, in certain communities, people don't always go snitching or saying who did something. So again, I'm not saying that's the situation. I'm just saying that there can be a lot of factors, because, you know, if you see footage of three individuals that are alleged suspects, somebody at some point probably can recognize one, two, or three of those suspects.
Yeah, and these are teenagers. Teenagers talk. This stuff be all over the internet, Snapchat.
Exactly. So if you know something, you seen something, you heard something, then the question is, why can you come forward? Can you say something? Because we see in other situations where, you know, there's witnesses lined up, like, hey, this is what happened. I saw this. This is that. This is that. So that's another part, I think, of the story, is that it would be very helpful if more people, or anybody for that matter, said, hey, I know something. Maybe this isn't going to be the full puzzle, but here's a piece of the puzzle, and here's another piece of the puzzle. And then perhaps that can lead to a little bit more.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate you being here, you know, enlightening us on things, the developments, and what can be done to try to help the situation. We'll definitely try to keep it out here and don't let it just, you know, be another year before someone's talking about it. How's the family, the mother and the father? How are they?
Yeah, so I communicated with Natasha before and after her interview. And so, I mean, she's doing the best she can, right? It's very hard, even as you saw in the video, you know, she keeps keeps memory alive, but she also lost a part of her, her son. And that will never be replaced, right? So I guess I would say that anybody out there, just keep the loved ones in your heart and your prayers. And if I could just close out with just one more thing, I would just say to anybody out there listening, and it's not just the Karmelo situation. It's not just about Austin. It's not about Keith. It's just in general, right? When we see stuff come out, I know it's very easy and we want to be quick to judge, um, offer our opinions. And I'm not knocking, but what I want to say is there's always more to stories, right? There's always more. And if we dismiss the situation and we think about the people in the grand scheme of everything that happened at that track meet, we still have a teenager who was murdered, and that is tragic. His family is mourning, and my heart goes out. We also have another family whose son was involved in a situation that he or his family probably wouldn't have dreamed of. And they're dealing with something. And again, I'm not comparing. I'm just saying I think that sometimes if we just can take a moment and can we imagine what if that was our child, our nephew, our niece, our parent, right? And put the human side back into it. Because just because people do something, that doesn't mean that they are horrible people and all of that. Some things happen. A lot of people in prison or locked up right now might be in there because of something that they didn't do, or they might be in there because of a bad choice that they made. But is that person, is that person just so evil? Right? You can't be an all-star student and all this one day, but then now you want to hang somebody. So that's just my message is, y'all, if there's any room ever for compassion, America needs it now more than ever, because a lot of people are mourning, a lot of people are grieving, and we're quick to judge, we're quick to be cruel, and we're quick to be mean. But let's just make sure, we pause a little and just see how things play out all the way around.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out to come up here and share, what you shared with us, especially the last part. You know what I mean? Hopefully, people hear this, they understand with your advice. Um, Again, thank you. If anything that we can do to contribute, if you come across any other situations like this or anything, don't hesitate to reach out, and we give as much support as we can.
Yes, thank you, and thank you just for wanting to share the stories. We appreciate you, and keep doing what y'all doing. All right.
Yes, ma'am. Enjoy your evening.
Bye-bye.
Man, I don't know what you got going. Sound like you're chewing something. Wash machine going.
Wow, you can hear something?
Yeah, I heard it all. That's why I kept muting it.
What is it? What you hearing?
I don't know. I just chewed or something. But yeah,
Maybe.
man. See that just before I say, I'm not even gonna say that. Miss Jackie. Yeah. I guess Jackie. That's who was enlightening me on the things that were going on, particularly with. Yeah, I enjoyed it too. East Atlantic, particularly the things that was going on in the Little Elm area, man. You know what I mean? It looked like Miss Jackie here. She's the one that posts this here, Miss Jackie Alvarado. Look like she's been on this for a while and just compiling just different cases and situations where she don't think that the authorities actually go to the fullest extent to try to solve these crimes. You know what I mean? Like in specifically her niece, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right, Haley Shanae. And I actually saw a video of that, and wow. So I intended on visiting that case right there, that situation in a live here real soon. But Miss Jackie also brought to my attention. Well, she's told me about a group, and I went and looked in this group, and I don't know if she had made the post in this group or not. But it was another situation of this kid in 2018, and that went to Denton High School. He was 17 years old, black kid that was killed. You know what I mean? I think it was like November the 19th, 2018. And this kid, he had been getting into it with, I guess, a white kid at school. And they both had got suspended, and threats had been made, and all types of things or whatever. And long story short, his family had grounded him for some things when it was around Thanksgiving, I believe. Then he had learned his lesson and all of this, so they allowed him to go over to a friend's or something. Well, he didn't return. That was the last time I believe they said they saw him after he had had a, a visit with his probation officer, if I remember correctly. He's supposed to go over to a friend's when he leave there, and they never saw him again. So it goes on, and there's some bridge, I believe, there, and they call it Goats Man Bridge or something like that. And from what I read, there's a story to that bridge. It was a bridge where this guy he had sold something, man. I'm gonna get deep into it when I do more research. It was a black man, and he was selling, I don't know, it was goat milk or goat something, but the KKK in that area, they didn't like the way he was succeeding and all of that type of stuff, because he posted a sign up there, something goats man, something on that bridge. Anyway, they supposed they had hung him from that bridge. Well, this is where the same area, that bridge that they found the body of, supposedly that kid, Lermont Stower Jones. I don't know if I'm saying it right, Stowers Jones or whatever. This 17-year-old kid, high school student from Denton High School. And this was in 2018. You know what I mean? All around this same area, man. The Little Elm, Denton, Frisco, all these things are taking place that we've been talking about over the past week. So we're going to get into that, within the next few days, a week or so. We're going to dive into that case as well, man. Try to figure out, okay, what really happened with this kid, man. So there's a lot going on, and Miss Jackie here don't feel like the authorities are really, really trying to figure these things out, and maybe there's some type of cover-ups, man. You never know who's involved in these crimes that's being committed towards these, these kids, these black kids, or whatever.
So what does she think? Does she think it's just police force doesn't take crime against young black people serious?
I definitely believe that. You know what I mean? She says the captain from Little Elm was the ranger that investigated his case. Wow. So she seems to have a lot of details about that. So I'll definitely be trying to see what information I can get from her and share that. And we want to get into her daughter, her niece's case as well. Man, it's just, I don't know, man. We live in these times, and there's so many alliances amongst people with power, and sometimes their own kids, they know who their family is and the family connections and things, and they feel like they can go out and do things, man, and there'll be no repercussions for it because they know that, they may be covered up or whatever. And a lot of this, I believe, is taking place in those areas, man. Especially with people with money and power and things of that nature. So I believe that plays into it as well. But yeah, man, I just want to keep on, just talking about these different things that are happening, and see what the solution is. But like Miss Tucker said, as far as these could be good kids, and it also made me think about what I was saying as far as reaching these kids, because you could take a good kid like that, like Keith Slaughter. You know what I mean? Had nothing to do with nothing, was going to a party, star basketball player. His dad is just taking him to visit University of North Texas, I believe, on his first college trip. You know what I mean? Visit, like all these things, but he goes to a party, but because you got some knuckleheads, want to be bad or whatever the case may be, they shoot up in the party, and now this good kid is gone. You understand what I'm saying? And these are things, this is why I say that every parent should be concerned about whether it's your kid or not, what's going on with majority of these kids, even the bad actors, because one bad actor can totally change your whole family. You know what I mean? Your whole future, everything, man. So
Yeah, 'cause they
Concerned
both these.
about
Yeah,
our child or our children, you know what I mean, and not be concerned about those others that's out here, you know. So I think more effort has to be made to try to reach these kids and really tap into the conscience of them or help them build a conscience. You know what I mean?
it's definitely a dire situation. These kids getting killed and doing normal kid activities.
It's just crazy, man. Another thing I was looking at, it was and they won't release the name. Well, they released the name of one of the little girls, and in Killeen, Texas, man, 14-year-old kids, middle school, I believe, you know, and one girl, she stabbed the other girl, you know, she stabbed the other little girl to death, you know, so, but they won't release the ethnicity or, race of the girl that killed the other little girl, but it was a little black girl, 14-year-old girl. I believe her last name was Baker or something like that. I'm gonna be looking into that as well, but, you know, they're so young, so there's not any court documents or anything, so. But this seems to be something that's going on. That these kids are more aggressive, man. You know what I mean? Like wilder, so to speak. And you know my idea or what I think about this, as far as the influences, man. You already know what I think. But,
Yeah, they're definitely more violent for sure. I mean, but our society is more violent as a whole. I don't think. Look, I say that, but look, can we really say that? I think what's really happening is that we have so much access to everything now. Because they said in the 80s, New York was on a whole nother level of violence, right? They said like the country used to be there were more murders per capita in the 80s and like early 90s, I believe. But nowadays we have access to everything, so we see basically everything. But I think what's different from like the 80s and the 90s, where it was more all that murdering, that was more centered with people who were considered straight criminals. You
yeah,
understand? It was
yeah,
like the criminal element. You understood if I did this came with it, right?
yeah.
But now what's happening is like for example, all these kids, like you could be anywhere doing the most innocent thing and something can happen.
And that's terrifying to me, man. Like, dang, I can't be at school. I can't go to a simple party. You can't go to church. I can't go to the mall. You know what I mean? Like, without, as a parent, like being worried, is my child gonna make it home? You just never know what's gonna happen nowadays, man. That's just crazy, man. But
Absolutely crazy. Yeah, the churches they got armed guards all over the place. They tell you something where we live in, right?
I mean, when they started putting metal detectors in schools and whatnot, I was like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was actually gone myself, but when I started hearing about it, I'm like, metal detector. Like, damn, man. But yeah, man, it's just another tragic, sad situation, man. And I mean, I don't know if it's safe to say or sad to say, man. I just don't see it changing unless there's more activism. One thing that Miss Jackie had brought to my attention, or it may have been from her post. I'm not sure. You know what? Let me see something here. Now that I know it's her, I just got it. The first post, well, she had spoke about that, how the situation with Keith, you know what I mean? They only posted. Well, no, this. I think Haley as well. I'm not sure if she want to hit the link. She can hit the link, or when we do decide to go deeper into the Haley situation, she can always hit the link. But she was talking about how they posted on the Police Association page with only 3,000 followers, instead of the Little Elm Police Department Facebook page that has 54,000 followers. You know what I mean? So she took issue with that, and I can see why. Why wouldn't you want to get it out here to more people? You know what I'm saying? Or post them on both. Like
Yeah.
you really want to find out what happened. What's going on. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Also, there was a post here that she said meeting with Captain Barnes 2 weeks after Haley was shot in her car. Proof her investigation was rushed to self-inflicted and no homicide investigation was conducted. Is this why Little Elm is labeled one of the safest towns in Texas? 1 month before Haley, there was a mass shooting that resulted in the death of an innocent young man. 2 homicides in a month of each other would not have looked good for Chief Harrison or the town of Little Elm, Texas government. That would explain why Haley's case never went to the PIO, Public Information Officer, protecting an image. And well, I got this banner scrolling right here. Protecting an image rather than protecting the community. So what role does trying to pitch your city, your town, or whatever is gaining that label as being the safest place to bring more people there or whatever? What role does that play in not actually putting these crimes out here or continuing investigations? You know what I'm saying, to maintain that image. What role do you think it may play?
It probably definitely plays a significant role because, as the DFW expands all these formerly bedroom communities, that's high level property now, right?
Yeah.
We know Frisco and Little Elm, they got to keep these places serene perception wise, right? So I can understand. It makes sense. That's a good. That's an excellent point. It may be, they're trying to maintain a certain public image. So, people keep moving and businesses keep coming.
And I think that, see, I know there was a time, like even when I was, younger or whatever, down here in this area, North Texas area, things like that. It was just understood that, look, you don't want to touch this county right here. You know what I mean? You don't want to mess around with Collin County, Denton, Tarrant County. You know what I mean? Like, it was just understood unless you was like really about that life and expect.
Yeah, it's understood. You was going to jail for a long time.
Oh yeah, you understand what I'm saying? So you ain't.
Yeah.
But maybe there are people that are moving here from, they say there's a lot of people come from New York and coming from California and all these places moving to Texas. They don't have that understanding about none of these counties. So maybe that's a factor in the uptick of violence that we see is taking place. I don't know, man. It has to be something because it's just wild, man. It's just wild out here. She says the mayor is a realtor too. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I mean, he invested. He's personally invested. I mean, it's cold lick, but it just seems hard to believe with that case with the 3 youngsters walking down the street that they didn't. Kids aren't that tight-lipped, especially this age. Everybody go on the internet and talk about everything.
And what's weird, it makes me think. That's why it makes me think that I imagine that I don't think this was just no like black house party. You know what I'm saying? Probably was mixture white kids. High school, all these things. It makes me think that they probably know who it is or could easily figure out who it is, man. But they must have some type of status there, family or something. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because just seeing that right there, there's a way they can zoom in on those faces, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, come on, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It's probably all kind of camera angles they got. They know they have an idea at least who one of the boys was. They know who. They have some thoughts about who it is, whether it's absolute fact or not. Now, whether the fact they're not releasing that, because you got to think the neighborhood it's rumors around there who did it.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. Probably half the city probably know, right?
And that's weird. No one is coming forward. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's probably the wrong. They don't the wrong look. They don't want this person going to jail.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We know who they like to say. They don't save us. They say the other side.
But anyway, man. Yeah. I just wanted to. To me, I'm seeing just a pattern here, man, of this violence amongst high school kids. You know what I'm saying? And that's very, very disturbing, man. Because these good kids. You know what I'm saying? They're either committing some acts or something being done to them, man. And I ain't even talking about racial. Like I don't know, even Metcalf kid, Austin Metcalf, shit, he was a high school kid, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, all these kids, like, they just doing regular high school stuff, like the stuff you're supposed to be doing in high school, and getting whacked in the process. Damn shame.
Well, man, been on here about an hour, 10 minutes. I just wanted to bring some attention to that kid case. Like I say, hopefully here within the next couple of days, man, we may take a deeper look into Haley's situation, as well as the Lamont Stoward Jones situation, man. Both of them very, very intriguing, man. I got a lot of questions, so I'm gonna do my due diligence and research, man, and see what I can find out and bring it to the forefront. Maybe get some others to come up and talk about it in the coming days, man. You got anything else you'd like to say? You must went out. Well, I appreciate everyone that tapped in. Miss Jackie, like I appreciate what you shared with me. Give me a direction to go, some things to look into. I really appreciate that. So anything else you would like to share with me, you can always send it to me or whatever. And hopefully when we're prepared to speak on the Haley case, you'll be willing to come up and share what you want to share. You know what I'm saying? Because I can tell you and your family are really affected by this. My heart goes out. I'm pretty sure everyone else that knows about it, heart goes out to you and your family. And I'll be reaching out to you here soon. You got any last things you would like to say, Roy?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about the mic, man. I'm gonna get on make sure I had this mic situation fixed for next time. Nah, man, appreciate the topic, man. Heavy subject. We got to be aware of our surroundings, what's going on in this world.
For sure, for sure. Well, bro, I'll be hitting you up here in a little bit, man, so we can kind of strategize and see where we go from here.
That's a fact. All right, be easy, man. Take care, everybody.
All right, bro. Peace. Well, again, man, I appreciate Miss Tucker coming up, giving us some insight into not only um, the Keith Slaughter case, but also just in general, the media. As she says, she has a PR firm. I think it's based in Dallas. Very professional person. So it was good to hear, her opinion on things as well, and the effect that the media can have on a case and paint a picture of any kid, particularly black kids or whatever, as being villains before, all the facts have even come out. So I really, really appreciate her for tapping in with us. Again, I appreciate Miss Jackie Alvarado for her, coming here, checking out, the little live or whatever things that she shared with me. And, thank you for bringing awareness. And again, like I say, giving me the information that I needed to go and look in other directions. There's a lot of things I didn't know. So now I know places that I can go and find these things out and bring them to the forefront. I'm not a big platform, but I have big concern about what's going on, because it seems like a lot of this is just centered in a certain geographical area. You know what I'm saying? And it just phases out and be covered up or whatever. So we're gonna start looking into more and more, because I'm pretty sure there's more instances or more cases and things that are just being disregarded, or whatever is being said to appease the public, and they just move on. So we're gonna be looking to all them things. And again, man, I thank you for everyone that tapped in with me. East Atlantic, salute. Blondie Queen 55, One Ratchet, Beef Sector. I appreciate all of y'all. Stephanie Marie, thank you. God's Grace, thank you. Jug FL, thank you. And shit, until next time, shit, I'm gonna get out of here and see what else I can do, man. Like I say, I want to try to help as much as I can and see whatever changes that I can help bring about. So y'all enjoy your evening. Be safe, be vigilant, and each one teach one. And don't let this world change your humanity. Peace.
I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change has gotta come now. Ooh, yes it is now. Oh man, oh man. It's been too hard living, oh man. And I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the clouds. It's been a long time coming. I know, change has gotta come. Oh, yes, it is. There's a time I will go to my brother. Oh, I've asked my brother, will you help me please? Oh, he turned me down, and then I asked my dear mother. Oh, I said, mother, I'm down on my knees. It's been a time that I thought, Lord, it's been last very long. Oh, somehow I thought I was still able to try to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it is. Just like I said, I went to my little bitty brother. Oh, my little brother. I asked my brother, help me, please. Oh, he turned me down, and then I go to my little mother, my dear mother. Oh, now. I said, mother, I'm down on my knees. But there was a time that I thought, Lord, this could last very long. Oh, man. Somehow I thought I was still able to try to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gotta come. It's been so long, a little too long, but change has gotta come. So tired of suffering, standing by myself and standing up alone, but a change has gotta come. You know, and I know, you know that, I know, and you know, honey, that a